chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. I would, of course, say another daily chat, but as you all well know, I have been absent for a few days. I came on last week and explained exactly why that is. I just needed a few days to myself to come to terms with something you would call a hammer blow, which was to every fibre of my being. But as they say, the show goes on, life goes on. You have to roll with the punches. I'm rolling with a can of Strombo right now. What the hell? And I'm looking forward to interacting with you all again. And the first one in the chat is Julie Keys. Hello to you and hope you're well. Cheers to you. Welcome back, Andy, and all in the chat. Stink Pooter, hello to you. Good to see you, my friend. And yes, it's good to be back. Hello, Julie Baldwin. Divian Ringo, hello. Cosmic Wartoad, hello. Getting all the regulars back in. Jerry Georgopoulos as well. Yes, when you join the chat, folks, if you could do me a favour and just give it the thumbs up, let's get that rocking and rolling straight away. Let's get in that good habit. I'm going to wind down the window, actually, because it's getting a bit toasty in here already. It's hot than hell. Yes, it was a bit of an interesting week last week. As I explained in the other video, my dear friend Kevin had terminal cancer. Obviously, nothing they could do. And I last saw him on the Wednesday when he was, talkative and everything else. On the Thursday morning, I got a message off his son saying that they put him on the morphine driver. And by the early hours of Friday morning, he was gone. And I actually got the call at about 10 to 3 in the morning when I was driving back from Gatwick Airport with a load of people. And as you can imagine, 6 people and getting news like that was no mean feat to disguise, what was going on. But very, very, very sad couple of days. And I just could not sit in front of a camera and talk or do much. I assume you understand that. It's good to talk about it. Yay, Groove in the House. That's David. Is that David Crosby? I think so. Hello to you. Good to see you. Yeah, I had a great thing yesterday. I picked up somebody and met them at the Premier Inn at Gatwick. And they said to me, Andy the Cabby? I went, well, I'm Andy and I'm a cabbie. He said, you're that guy on YouTube. You know Alex kind of thing. And it was one of the subscribers who lives locally. It was crazy. I was sat with one of the subscribers of this channel and we literally spoke all the way home, and it was wonderful. And he left a comment on here earlier. So one by one, I think I've met 3 or 4 of you now. Only about 30,000 more to go, and then I will get around everybody. It was quite a small world that was, and lived locally to me. Who else we got in here? All right, you lot. Right, rolling with coffee. Hello, Andy. Nice to see you. You too, Jerry. A house near me got its front door smashed in by the police during a raid this morning. Cosmic Water. Wow. Yes. David Crosby, £3 super sticker. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hello, Jodie Pitt. Good to see you. And Alan Pape as well. Good to see you as well. It's good to get the gang back together. I always worry when I disappear off for a few days whether, things might happen. Divian Ringo, thumbs up. M. Perry, thumbs up to you as well. And Lorna McKenzie. What I wanted to do, if you'd indulge me, first of all, I wanted to pay a little tribute to my friend, and I also wanted to pay a little tribute to the care that he got where he was. It was absolutely unbelievable. Now the screen which I wanted to share, it looks like it's disappeared into oblivion, so I can't actually read what I wanted to. But give me a second. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go and arrange some other internet, and I'll be back in a sec. Oh, that's it. I just had a bit of a technical failure, but I am here once again, and hopefully this will work. Yes, I wrote a tribute to my friend, and I just wanted to share this with you so you knew what kind of man he was, really. Here we go. Let's see if I can say this with a dry eye. When you go on life's journey, you meet people that have some kind of influence on you, or they leave a lasting impression. And by God, my dear friend Kev did both. I first met Kev in 2004 when a 26-year-old me started work at a local computer firm. My first impression of Kev, I'll admit, wasn't a favourable one. I thought, what a sarcastic sod, and he really was. One of the things I learnt over the years was Kev used this gift for sarcasm to great effect, and more often than not, with very humorous results. Kev became a taxi driver many years ago, and when I left the IT industry after him, I did the same and became a taxi driver. Every trick and every sleight of hand that I know about the cab industry, he taught me, and he taught me well. Kev has always got up to mischief in one way or another, and certainly had a large back catalogue of stories that I could relay to you. One of his recent favourites was leaving me messages in all the toilets around the M25 for me to find, and that was funny. When I started my business in 2017, Kev helped me right from the start and was a big part of what it is today. A lot of what I do now and how I do it came from his mind, which was a suggestion at the time, and turned into a bloody good idea at the end. We even developed our own way of talking and our own language over the last few years, and my wife would know who I was talking to in seconds by what was coming out of my mouth, and she'd generally roll her eyes afterwards. Kev to me became one of the most loyal and trusted friends I could hope to have over the years, and in some way my right arm as well. If you made a friend of Kev, he was your friend and would do anything to help you if you needed him. After I had a car accident, which I've obviously told all you about, in 2020, he took time out of his day to take me to Surrey to look for replacement wheels. And he wouldn't let me go home, until we got something, which is the Merc that's sitting just across there. And it's just something Kev would have done. None of this seems real, but one thing I know is that any of us that had Kev as our friend were damn lucky. Because he was loyal to the last, and I'll miss him. Rest in peace, my dear and trusted friend. We'll meet again someday. Thank you for indulging me. That was my little tribute I wrote about Kev. And the other people I want to pay a tribute to are the Pilgrim's Hospice, obviously the local one in Margate where he was, and the other Pilgrim's Hospices around the country. Seeing what they do every day, it's absolutely unbelievable. The dignity that they provide for these people that are literally staring death in the face is unbelievable. And he didn't want for a single thing in the end. That they looked after him, they gave him everything he needed. Totally with it. and to me, they get nowhere near enough funding, no more than they deserve. Now, what his son did, his son's called Peter. He put a Just Giving page up for the Pilgrims Hospice, and I think they're aiming to try and raise £1,000 to try and help the Pilgrims Hospice, and hopefully they will get somewhere near that. And I think there's donations towards it at the funeral as well when that takes place. So hopefully we can raise a good bit of coin for them. But just to show you a couple of examples, this is what I used to find in places around the M25. It was all little messages left for me all over the place, ranging from quite obscene to just a funny anecdote. I'd sit there to go and have a number one or a number two, and I'd see a thing saying, "Are you sitting comfortably?" It was very, very, very amusing. I used to howl with laughter. Yeah, I will put the link to the page up here, says 78. I mean, I've had this gripe for years. I mean, my stepfather passed away of cancer, and I'm my grandfather, and I'm sure you all have somebody somewhere close that's passed away as well from this dreadful illness that never seems to end. And this organisation, this collection of people that look after them so well in their final hours, they don't get the funding or backup. It really was. Yes, he was a funny practical joker, Jerry. He really was. I mean, I'll give you another couple of examples of his antics when he was younger. I don't know if anybody was aware of the layout of Ramsgate at all, but on a hill, when you go up to another part of Ramsgate, there's a big water fountain. And let's just say it's amazing what you could do if you poured a few gallons of washing up liquid in there with some food colouring. Sometime in about 1976 or thereabouts, there was an almighty great big bubble burst out of this fountain straight across the road and down the side, very well publicised. And I happen to know who was responsible. Although I wasn't born for another 2 years, I know full well who did it. There was another episode where they got hold of a load of these little bangers, and they got like metal scaffold poles and all that sort of thing. Driving down the road in a little car with a police siren. What else was there? There's a car park down from me where there's a load of beach huts, and let's just say one or two of them didn't end up where they should have been by the time Kevin and his friends were finished. Yes, he did really get up to all sorts of mischief over the years, and very, very, very funny indeed. And we even played a couple of pranks as we went along. And my side is fine, thank you, Cosmic Wartoad. Well, thank you for indulging me in that little tribute, everybody. I just wanted to let you know what kind of man my friend was, and why I disappeared off for a few days now. This is the Gabby Cabby daily chat, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Obviously, we've been absent for a few days for reasons that have just become clear. If you haven't done so already, please can you give the chat a like, a thumbs up, and that will really help the algorithm grow. And you know, I've spent 10-15 minutes talking about my pal. If you haven't done so already as well, please consider subscribing to the channel too. That'll be wonderful, and that'll also help us grow. And of course, we're on social media, and you can find us on there, Facebook, Twitter, and all the rest of the stuff. And it really is nice to see all of the regulars back here after a few days absence. And also, I very much appreciated reading all of your comments and kind tributes and everything else as well, particularly asking about my welfare and whereabouts. It did really warm my cockles, as they say, very much. Now, I've been looking at some of the news, right? I've been a bit out of touch with this for a few days. Who's this? Mark Hampson, hello to you. John, good to see you. Andy gives us the most strange. Give us the most strange experience you've ever had with your customers. I could give you a rude experience, which is a story that comes to mind straight away, where some people couldn't get a room. I started hearing all noises in the back of my cab and looked in the mirror and saw this lady's head doing this. I've seen all sorts. Yeah, looking in the news, as I say, I've been away from it for a few days, and I see that nothing changes. Nothing changes at all. We're all talking about this Rwandan thing, as in it's going to be the magic bullet, which is going to get rid of the dinghy divers, and of course it's utter bollocks. We had the thing the other day where the actual plan to deport these people went through the court. They tried to put a stop to it, but the judge was having none of it. Boris Johnson takes swipe at lawyers as last-minute legal hearings take place over Rwanda flight. The Prime Minister addressed the government's plans to deport migrants to Rwanda this afternoon, labelling the move as very important to deter people traffickers. When probed on reports that more migrants arrived across the channel this morning, he said, clearly, from the people trafficking point of view, it's worth the risk. The Prime Minister emphasised how he believed it was very important to show the people traffickers that their business case is being undermined and that they are cheating people. Not only are they risking their lives sending them across the sea in unseaworthy vessels, the Prime Minister added they're also running the risk of being sent to another country, which they hadn't bargained on, i.e. this whole Rwanda thing. That's the message we need to get across to the people traffickers. I'll tell you my view in a minute. Mr. Johnson was later asked whether the UK would have to leave the European Convention on Human Rights to avoid the kind of legal battle he faces. He said lawyers were very good at picking up ways of trying to stop the government from upholding what we think is sensible law, adding, will it be necessary to change some laws to help us as we go along? It may very well be, and all these options are under constant review. The government already plans a shake-up of human rights laws with a new Bill of Rights promised in the Queen's speech delivered in May. With the first flight to Rwanda expected to carry a handful of migrants due to depart on Tuesday, cases involving the potential passengers were heard at the High Court and the Supreme Court. So this is big stuff. Lord Reid, in bringing that application, the appellant's lawyers were performing their proper function of ensuring that their clients are not subject to unlawful treatment at the hands of the government. A plane believed to be one which would carry the first asylum seekers to Rwanda was at Boscombe Down military base on Tuesday ahead of its flight. Just 7 people are due to be on board following a string of legal challenges and Home Office reviews, but 2 of those were seeking a High Court order to prevent them being sent to Rwanda. Foreign Secretary Liz Truss said the flight to Rwanda will take off no matter how few people are on board. She said some individuals would be on the plane to Africa on Tuesday, but could not say how many, as she insisted the scheme is both legal and value for money, despite the reported £500,000 cost of the flight. Well, I think that's chicken feed compared with the daily cost of keeping them here in hotels, wouldn't you think? £500,000. Now, I find Liz Truss's comments very telling. This plane will take off no matter how many people are on it. Now, I guarantee you that plane will be fucking empty. There won't be one single dinghy diver on there. And I tell you why. It's because the lefty lawyers and the mob rule will have their way, and they won't go. I mean, please keep your nose out, Prince Charles. Tyrone Whitehead said. That's another thing. He went on and called it appalling. The media is just wading through this at a million miles an hour, going, you can't do this, you can't do that. But even if some did take off, You can imagine the thousands and thousands and thousands of these dinghy divers that have come here over the last couple of years. I mean, we could go back further, but let's say the last couple of years. And you want a tiny trickle. And I can guarantee you there will be legal shenanigans every single time they try and pack a plane and get rid of them. Ain't never going to happen. They ain't going to leave the ground. Andy's solution to this is you talk to the French, I didn't really, he said something else then, and you say to them, right, we want to set up an exclusion zone on your beaches where these buggers are getting launched from. We swear we will not come or encroach into your territory to preserve your sovereignty. We want to set up a beachhead, and we want to prevent these people from launching in the first place. You take the solution to the problem right over there and stop it from happening. Unless they do that, mark my words, it will continue. It may continue, they may move it further around the coast. But if you start making that action, it'll stop. But nobody seems to have the wherewithal or the nous to be able to do anything about that. Instead, oh, come over, we'll put you in a hotel, maybe put you on a plane to Rwanda and wait for the lefty lawyers to have their fill. You know, I went to a pub the other day with my friend on Saturday, and he said, we need to go now. There's too many lefties in here for my liking. I thought that was absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. He might have a point. Anyway, this is the daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button on the chat. Let's get that algorithm talking. We've got a little bit of ground to make up, so to speak. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you've all got a drink in your hand like I have tonight. I thought, sod it, I'm due one. It's been a long day. And please, if you've got on social media at all, look us up there. We're not far off 700 followers on Twitter, so we could do with a few more on there to boost that up. If you hang around in Leftyville, you know, jump on there and see. Let's have a quick look at the chat, see what people are saying. Evening, Andy and everybody. That's Anne Irving. Good to see you. Zena. I'm drinking cider, Zena. One solitary can of Strongbow. I'm back on the road tomorrow, so I can't have a few more, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to. France will pay us to keep them here. That's bloody right. Yeah. I mean, no one's got the hunger to stop it properly. They really haven't. I'm so glad I'm switching motorised push bikes. £4 to fill the tank. Speed up to 27 miles an hour. 30 miles an hour on one tank, so I'll never be able to afford to fill a car up. It's getting crazy, isn't it? Chopper cam bike repairs. WEF, humans to be integrated with smartphone technology by 2030 using 6G. Nokia CEO confirms conspiracy, but they can fuck off. Basically, Macron couldn't care less. Well, he got back in, didn't he? Andy the Gabby Cabby, see Liam T community posts about takeaways ordered and given to immigrants. I saw something very similar. I think Steve Laws did something on this a while back, Zena, where a load of them were shacked up at a church, of all places. And there was just pizzas and stuff everywhere. And again, who's paying for it? It is a nutty thing. And I noticed some people in the chat as well. Please keep your nose out. Would have loved to have a pint with you and Kev. I bet you would add a lot of stories to tell. God rest his soul. Definitely, Declan. Yeah, I had a pint with him. I did. Lager Shandy was actually his favourite because he worked very hard all the time. He didn't really drink. He wasn't a drinker, but he did like a Lager Shandy. With £2 a gallon, how much is the flight for 7 to Rwanda? Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed a couple of you putting comments about the fuel prices in as well, about how we're getting absolutely ripped off to high hell with this stuff. I mean, I put 50 quid's worth of juice in my car earlier, and I ended up with barely 25 litres. 25 litres off 50 quid. That's not far short of you know, £2 a litre. And I had a long-term customer earlier come to me and speak to me, and he had to refer the job back to his company purely because I put the price up by 30%. And I said to him, I didn't have a choice. I mean, if you look, we used to charge £100 from Margate to Gatwick, right? And it's £50 a diesel all day long now, all day long. You take the drop-off charge for Gatwick out of that leaves you £45 to play with. It's not worth doing. So I've racked mine straight up to £130, which is pretty much a going rate for other companies round here. Like it or leave it. I'm, you know, if I left it the way it was, I'd be getting out of bed for less than minimum wage every day, and it's not worth it. I'd rather sit here and make more videos, and I'm sure you'd like that. It's absolutely nuts. There's definitely a few going on the flight tonight because they lost their appeal and the judge denied them another appeal. Yeah, I hear that, Julie. I hear that, but I wonder about last-minute shenanigans. You know, I mean, speaking of flights, yeah, you know, you have to mention that. Let's look at people's holidays, for example. I mean, I've got a thing here. British Airways cancellations listed in full as flight chaos continues. British Airways have cancelled more than 200 flights today as the flight chaos continues. A total of 114 short-haul flights to and from London Heathrow were cancelled. That's just short-haul. A reported 22 of these were domestic flights, while 92 international flights to Europe have also been cancelled. The airline said almost all of the cancellations were pre-planned and that passengers were given advance notice of the disruption. Bullshit. It comes just a day as Ryanair crew members prepare to go on strike for 6 days. I'm glad my boy got back in time. Staff in Spain will go on strike on June the 24th to the 26th, the 30th, as well as July 1st and July 2nd. Workers are taking action over discontent about working conditions and pay. The union syndical Obrera said, while crew at UK airports are not currently expected to follow suit, the strikes could impact holidaymakers attempting to fly back from Spain. EasyJet also cancelled a 46 flights yesterday as major airports such as Bristol, Manchester and Heathrow considered to see huge queues. List of British Airways cancellations range from Aberdeen, Inverness, Manchester, Newcastle, that's domestic, and then we've got international Amsterdam, Basel, Barcelona, Budapest, Copenhagen, Dublin, Hamburg, Lisbon, Istanbul, Paris, Rome. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, what happened with me this morning, I woke up to 5 cancellations. 5. And they were all EasyJet, every single one of them. There was a lady that had a big job booked with 12 people going on holiday. And, you know, all cancelled. I had a lady whose booking was for August, cancelled. That's 4. And then I had another lady due back tomorrow. Hers has been bounced to the following day. That's 5, all this morning. And it's utter disruption. And it's British Airways and just about everyone else. Who we got here? Right, 1-4 for a koi. Is Jack in the house tonight? David Crosby. He's indoors doing his maths contest, bless him. Does that include the flight crew? I lost count with all the bullshit. There's a bit of that flying around. The only way to avoid it all is a day in France. I think everyone should be on £500 an hour, just not the MPs. That's the way it's going, really, isn't it? Andy the Gabby Cabby, in case it affects you, I've seen a call to blockade fuel stations. Can't remember the exact date in July now. It says 78. Something's going to happen sooner or later. I mean, the shop staff are getting pissed off with it. I talk to them all the time. And, you know, somebody said this morning when I put £50 of diesel in for 25 litres, he said people will start pushing back eventually. And I can't say I blame them. something's got to give somewhere. I mean, the fuel companies are getting their bashing, but at the end of the day, how much tax is front loaded onto this stuff? With opinions like your field trip video and the visit to Bedrock. That's a message from Blood Nose to Bridget. And hello, Bridget. Good to see you in here. Tina, or hi, Andy in chat. Just caught up. No notifications. Big thumbs up, as I do all your vids and replays. Thank you very much, Tina. I appreciate it. Metal caps on donate. Hard for me to get off. Can of vodka and Coke, or you make yourself. What vodka do you drink? Combine UK at the moment, please. I'm a boring old sod. I just stick with the old Smirnoff. Number 10, Axis Islamophobia advisor. Yeah, there's a bit going about, isn't there? Yeah, there's a lot of you have had a good old chat with each other. Tony Whitworth, my friend's mother, had the J and had a seizure, went to hospital and spent a few weeks in. The doctor said probable it caused her ill health. Another injury, honesty and truth, and I wonder if people will be compensated. Read yesterday that Spain equivalent for fuel is £2.38 a litre. Jesus, wet. It's mad, isn't it? Not media remaining silent that bothers me. It's the medical profession, heart disease in children, etc. Yeah, it's all on the rise, isn't it? All on the rise. Disgusting. The petrol price should be £3 a litre. That's Paul Hoskin. 197 for super unleaded here on Saturday when I filled up. I mean, yesterday we had 180s pretty common everywhere, and today 190s. I think 198. I think is the most expensive I've seen today. It's crazy. And of course, what else do we see? They're still trying to scare the shit out of us with, this, that, and the other, talking about the media. I mean, this bloody thing here. Look. Russia warns Europe will disappear if it sends missiles to Ukraine. And there's a picture of a nice ICBM cooking off there as well, just for good effect. You know, are people pissed off with this now or what? Russia has threatened to make Europe disappear if Western leaders supply nuclear weapons to Ukraine. One of Vladimir Putin's top political allies warned such a move would provoke a conflict on the continent. As a key figure in Russian politics and one of their first officials to back the war publicly, his words are not to be taken lightly. His apocalyptic threat comes after Poland's ex-foreign minister, Radoslaw Sikorski, reportedly called for the transfer of nukes to President Zelensky to strengthen his defence. I know Ukraine had them at one point, but surrendered them, didn't they? With such deputies, the Europeans will have much more serious problems than those they already have faced today. Refugees, record inflation, energy crisis. Volodin, the head of the State Duma, hit back on Telegram. Sikorski provokes a nuclear conflict in the centre of Europe. He does not think about the future of either Ukraine or Poland. If his proposals are implemented, these countries will disappear, as well as Europe. He needs to be examined by a psychiatrist, pass the mandate and stay at home under supervision. It's precisely because of people like Sikorski that it's necessary to liberate Ukraine, not only from the Nazi ideology, but also to demilitarize it, ensuring the country's non-nuclear status. No Western leaders have so far suggested arming Ukraine with nukes, and it's unclear if Poland has plans to do so. Mr. Sikorski told Ukrainian channel Espresso TV the Russian president had violated the Budapest Memorandum on Security Assurances of '94, which pledges to respect Ukraine's territorial integrity. And it just goes on. I mean, there's crap on Twitter as well, addressed to Mr. Volodin. Mr. Sikorski said, you promised Ukraine to respect her borders in '94 in return for her nukes. You are now colonizing her and you threaten both Ukraine and NATO with your nukes. We just want you to know that if you use them, we have options too. Soon after the Russians' invasion in February, Putin moved his nuclear forces to alert. So it is more scaremongering bullshittery. When is it going to end, huh? When? It just it amazes me that I disappear for a few days and all this is left here still trying to poke us. I mean, I noticed the old couldn't give a monkeypox has disappeared off the face of the earth for now. You know, weren't people falling for that? I mean, I took somebody to Gatwick a couple of days ago, and they told me they read about a new variant of the old convicts. Oh, fuck off. You know, it's one thing after the other. Well, they reckon we're all going to be subject to some kind of nuclear Armageddon. None of it makes sense anymore. None of it makes me feel comfortable. And switch your telly off. This guy that I took back to the home from, his holiday yesterday, I said, switch your telly off. Get rid of it. It's done. Yeah. Why do we listen? Anyway, let's spend the last 5 minutes having a look at the chat, and we'll see what we got. Tony Whitworth, Patricia Shaw, hello to you. Did they say name of new variant? I didn't catch that, Zena. Yeah, chimp pox next. Happy birthday, Big Don. Hello, Neats. Good to see you. Happy birthday, President Trump. I'll echo that. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mr. President Donald Trump. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Done it. Julie Keys, happy birthday. David, I wasn't joking, was he? If anyone deserves an apology, then it is him. I missed a few Andy streams, did you? I hope so too. Zena, I haven't been around for a few days. It's one of them, unfortunately. I had to step back. Andy is good for reporting on what regular people see in the news. Blood knows, thank you. Hi Andy, hi Army, been away for a while. Yeah, me too, Neats. I've been away for a couple of days. Andy, not watching news in over 3 years. What's happening in this crazy world? It's so hot here in Scotland, and yes, we're not used to it. Zena, not for ages. Hope she's okay. People carp on about the cost of living. Don't stop you going on holiday though, does it? Or eating at restaurants. Has anyone seen Healing Vibrations recently? I haven't, and wondered if she or he is okay. Well, it's a she, Zena, and I did see a comment the other day on one of the videos. I'll have a look when we finished and see if I can locate her. I mean, some people when they watch these chats, they literally just watch and don't interact. So, you know, sometimes people may be here and you don't realise that they are here. There you go. First Canadians to be compensated for injury, confirmed. Take a look. It's a funny video. That's Bridget. I think I know the one you mean from earlier on. The morning program, Toff is in the USA. Disney doing the competition. I bet she had no problems with the airport. Yeah. Paul Lucas isn't going to like it. Glad I popped into the chat, Andy. It's my birthday today, so I'm off now. See you tomorrow. Have a good birthday, Julie Keys. Hope you have a wonderful day. Government are too happy getting the VAT on the fuel. Very true. There's loads of it, isn't there? Shame my batteries died when I was almost home. I buy Jack Daniels and Coke in cans occasionally. Is it me, or does it taste like cheap oldie Coke in those up? I agree, Zena. There's no substitute for it straight out of a bottle and pour it on yourself. There really isn't. I much prefer doing it that way every time. I only asked for 10 chips at the chippy now. 79 watching, 53 likes. Well, we're up to 75 watching and 62 likes. So let's try and get at least to 70 before we're finished. So if you haven't done so already, folks, please hit that like button and help me get up to 70. That'll be a meager number to try and aim for before the end. And Irvin, my ex-husband, was an airline pilot. He could come out of retirement. Hi, Andy. Talking to a taxi today. Has to get his medical for driving. Told not till next month. but pay £120, he can have it today on the NHS. Jesus, I think I paid 30 quid for mine, and I got mine in good order. But a lot of the taxi medicals, I think the money goes in the doctor's pocket who actually does them, rather than, you know, any NHS kind of thing. Does that include the flight crew? See here. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to call it a day for now, folks. We've had a good 40-minute chinwag. I got to speak about my good mate, who's no longer with us, and just catch up on a few little news articles. And I see everything's pretty much the same as it was when I left. I'm going to try and get back on here again tomorrow. And be with you then. Andy the Gabby Cabby's Daily Chat. Have a good evening, everybody. Thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you again. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. All right, till then, toodaloo.